Oh, hey, you see that? It's been floating over there for like 5 minutes.
Dead fish. This water's half piss and fertilizer anyway.
No, it's bigger. It's like a trash bag or dog. Oh, I think it's moving.
So don't feed it.
Okay, it's not a fish. It's got legs?
If it asks you 3 wishes, tell it no.
Jesus. Oh my god, did you see that?
Nope, and I'm not gonna. Engines on, let's go.
It's coming up.
Come on, come on.
That's not an animal.
No, that's a fucking science experiment.
It has hands.
Cool. Hate that. Fucking love that for us. Back. Get to the bow.
Oh my god. Oh, it's cold. It's cold, Luis.
I've got you.
Thank God we're away from it now. Hey, you know what we should talk about on the podcast?
Please don't.
Monsters of the sea. I think we have first-hand experience now.
You stupid bitch. Tim. Just kidding. How did you?
Here we are.
How did you like surviving that monstrous opening?
Oh, it was so scary. And the worst part was that in the instructions that it was written in the sketch, it said Tim cries out at the cold, wet suction, which I thought was a really good addition to it.
And you did it really well. Okay.
Thank you.
Give
Thank
yourself
you.
some credit.
Oh, okay. Do I get a Webby?
No, you don't. We are nowhere near Webby status quality.
Oh, wow.
No, we are actually. We're above that. We're waiting for the radio version of an Emmy.
I love it.
Yes. Well, welcome to the Itty Bitty Horror Podcast with Luis and Tim. In this podcast, we discuss everything from horror movies to the scariest tales out there.
Oh, no.
With a little dash of humor. Not too much, though, because we don't want to,
A pinch.
turn you off.
Right.
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Monsters of the Sea. Oh, no, Tim!
Oh, no, that's too scary.
Tim, why do you think sea monsters have captured our imaginations for centuries?
Well, I think because, all right, first of all, most of the world used to travel by sea. I mean, there weren't planes for most of human existence, let's put it that way. So, like, most of the time, people were traveling by sea. And of course, people encountered real sea creatures. Some, probably thought they were sea monsters. I mean, if you ever saw a shark, think about, back then, if you were living back then, you would have seen a shark and you would have thought, oh my God, that's a sea monster, right? Or a giant squid, something like that.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, especially if you're like traveling for the very first time by sea, like you said. And I'm assuming, like, I don't want to tarnish their images, but these old sailors from back in the day, they were probably drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Rum.
And they would see, imagine the first person that saw a shark and they just saw a fin sticking out of the water. And
Exactly.
for them, it's just like, oh my God, what is that? And then they exaggerated the tales and they wrote it in their little books and journals. And then they went back to Europe or whatnot. And they'd be like, this was as big as Tim's ass or something. I don't know.
For example.
For example. But no, that makes sense. But how do you think sailors and these ancient explorers might have influenced like these myths of these creatures and turned them into like lore or make them bigger than what they were?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they would have traveled, right? Because if you're traveling and you're a sailor, then you've been to a lot of places. People are going to trust your word on things. And also, it's just fun. I mean, let's add that factor into it, right? If you're telling about a story about how you caught a fish, you're going to say it's like the most huge fish you've ever seen, right? So
Yeah.
in the same way, if you're talking about a monster you encountered and you survived, you're going to want to make it sound really scary. And maybe it was, you know what I mean? I mean, who knows what people encountered right at the time, but yeah, I feel like that kind of influenced it. And then the stories travel, and in every port you go to, a new story gets passed around, and before you know it, everyone's talking about the Kraken.
Exactly. But if you think about it, if you are on a boat, on a ship, excuse me, and again, maybe you've seen some sea creatures here and there, little teeny tiny baby seahorse, and you're like, oh, that's a cute little seahorse or whatnot. And then you're like traveling across the Pacific Ocean, and then suddenly your boat rocks out of nowhere. And you're like, what the hell was that? And you don't actually see anything.
Yeah.
Maybe you see a little shadow in the ocean, and you're like, oh my God, that was this big ass of Tim's ass. Just kidding.
I hate that metaphor.
I hate that better. No, but and then of course, like you're right, they stop by these little fishing villages, and they recount these tales, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you know how that thing where they say like, oh, I'm gonna tell them a story, and then this person tells the other person the same story, but they exaggerate, and then the third person tells the fourth person. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Another thing I wanted to add too, I feel like part of the reason why sea creatures and sea monsters are such a kind of infamous thing throughout history is because the sea itself is kind of just so terrifying to us as like a species, like as human beings. The sea has always been this kind of unknown, right? Don't they say that we know more about the surface of the moon than we do the bottom of the sea, right? It's like this perpetually terrifying thing for us that we always try to explore and go out into, but it's also this thing that we can't really understand,
No, that's totally true. I think if you think about, we mentioned in a previous episode, I think it was like the Bermuda Triangle episode, but
yeah, the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, every year they discover, excuse me, it's like new species of animals or whatever, and then there's like the myths about these huge monsters that still live underwater that we just don't know much about.
Right.
And we can't prove it because it's so vast, and it's like, it took us how many years to find the Titanic? You know what I mean? Like
exactly. I know.
Even with the most advanced technology, we're not going to we're not going to cover the entire sea. And even then, we can do like a basic scan of the sea, I guess you could say. But there's like so much down there, like underwater caves and whatnot at the city of Atlantis, Little Mermaidville.
I think it was called Atlantica,
etc. Exactly. So no, you do have a point there, and I think it's pretty scary that we don't know what's down there, Tim.
Me too.
Well, for today's episode, we're going to be discussing why the sea for centuries, Tim, has been used as the setting for the most horrific sea monsters. So we'll discuss 3 famous sea monsters, and of course share some real life stories of sea horror. Tim, are you ready?
I'm ready for this.
Let's get on the boat right now, on a ship, put on our little life vests.
Our sailor outfits.
Our little sailor outfits, and then
like
just
Donald Duck.
And just sail away and try to see if we can encounter the Kraken or something.
Okay, let's do it. Let's hop on.
Let's get started.
All right.
In this first part, we'll discuss 3 of the most infamous sea monsters, starting with the Kraken.
The Kraken was not a myth to the sailors of the North Sea. It was a warning. An ancient tentacled behemoth said to dwell in the crushing blackness off the coast of Norway and Greenland, where the water is cold and the sky always looks just about to fall. They say the Kraken was the size of an island, with arms like trees and suckers that could swallow a man whole, that it would rise from the deep with a sound like thunder, pulling ships down into a whirlpool of foam and death. In 1755, a Norwegian bishop named Erik Pontoppidan described a creature so vast, so powerful, that entire fleets could disappear without a trace. But what's terrifying is this: it may have been real. Modern accounts of a giant squid, Architeutus dux, describe tentacles over 40 feet long, eyes the size of dinner plates, beaks strong enough to punch through bone, They battle sperm whales in the depths, battles we've only seen the aftermath of. Don't you battle sperm whales in the depths as well?
Okay, that was a grinder date gone wrong, and I
Yeah,
told
that's
you to
right.
keep that between us, and you're outing me.
Dragging it into the public eye. If these things still exist, what else might be waiting down there? Bigger, older, hungrier.
That does sound like me.
Bigger, older, and hungrier.
Yes, that sounds like me.
Yeah, that's probably what you tell waiters when you arrive at restaurants, right?
Yeah, as soon as I go to the Chili's, I'm like, me, bigger, older, hungrier, feed me. I'm what and wrong. They're like, oh, yikes, sir. Didn't you dine and dash last time?
Well, no, that was someone else without Russian accent.
I was just say, why do we sound Russian? If the Kraken is a monster, then Leviathan is a god. It comes not from seafarers' tales, but from ancient scripture. In the Old Testament, Leviathan is a serpent of chaos created by God himself. In Job, it is described as breathing fire, its scales impenetrable, its very presence an embodiment of terror. Leviathan was more than a beast, Tim. It was a force of nature. In in Hebrew mythology, it represents everything uncontrollable in the world, not just in the sea, but of the sea. Some believed it circled the earth, tail and mouth, like an Ouroboros of the deep. Others said it slumbered beneath the ocean floor, its breathing the rhythm of the tides. In Christian demonology, Leviathan was one of the 7 princes of hell, envy incarnate, always watching from below, hating what lived above.
Wait, so envy incarnate, that means there were other princes that were the other deadly sins. So there was like lust incarnate and greed incarnate.
Well, there was greed, lust, envy, but this was an incarnate. This was like a physical version of that.
Yes, but Luis, you missed my point as usual.
Bitch.
Listen,
Lust incarnate is you. You are the fucking lust incarnate. How about that?
you're the Leviathan. How about that?
Ooh.
Oh, anyway.
What was your point then?
My point was the following. That 7 princes of hell, okay, this one's envy incarnate. So I'm trying to picture, right? Like, okay, what are the other 6 princes, right? Because they're all based on one of the 7 deadly
that. Yes,
sins.
Correct. Just kidding. Go ahead. Uh-huh.
Well, that's it. That's the end of my point.
Okay, I don't know the 7 deadly sins or whatever they're called, but
you never watched the movie Seven?
No, I didn't see that one. That's one with Brad Pitt, and I didn't like Gwyneth Paltrow, so no.
Oh,
about that. But who do you think represents lust today's world?
You.
I was gonna say somebody famous, but I'm close to that. Actually, I'm kind of famous, so
yeah, you're pretty famous now. You're a big podcaster now, and we have all of our fans in Greece who are probably talking about you.
Yes, in Canada too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Hi, Canada.
Hey. Whether it's a metaphor or memory, Leviathan endures in our nightmares for a reason, because some part of us believes it never really left.
Oh, I think it left.
No. I have nothing to add to that.
Okay, well, we can move on then.
Yes, the Loch Ness Monster. Although it's not really a sea, it's more of a
lake, a loch.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Go ahead.
You know a loch is a lake.
Okay, well then go yourself, mama. Just kidding.
This is supposed to be at least a little bit of an informative podcast. So
exactly.
That's why I'm throwing that out there.
Just so you know.
Yeah. No, and just so you know specifically.
Exactly.
Person who I had to tell Bermuda was a real island.
Exactly. How dare you insult me and drag me over the coals?
I know. It's mean of me. All right, I'm going to start. Scotland's Loch Ness is quiet. Too quiet. A long, narrow lake tucked in the highlands, shrouded in perpetual mist and mystery. But when the water breaks and something surfaces, everything changes. They call it Nessie, but make no mistake, this is no cartoon. In 565 AD, St. Columba witnessed what he called a, quote, water beast in the river Ness. It dragged a man underwater before Columba allegedly rebuked it, and it fled. But it didn't disappear. It waited. Fast forward to 1933, George and Aldi Mackay drive past the loch. They see something massive rolling through the water like a breaching whale, but it had no blowhole, no dorsal fin. Just smooth, cold, unnatural movement. Not a fish, not a whale, not anything they could explain. The news exploded. More sightings poured in. A monster, a dinosaur, a prehistoric holdover, some said. Plesiosaur somehow surviving in fresh water for millions of years. And then the photo. The surgeon's photo, it's called. A long neck, a small head, breaking the water's surface. For decades, it was proof, until it wasn't. In 1994, it was revealed to be a hoax, just a toy submarine with a molded head. But Nessie's legend didn't die. In fact, it only got stronger. Sonar scans have picked up strange readings. Divers report hearing low-frequency growls in the blackness beneath them. Locals say the loch never gives up its dead. Myth? Hoax? Or something real, just clever enough to avoid us. Loch Ness still remains unexplored in its deepest parts, and when the fog rolls in and the water stills, you might just see something watching you from beneath.
Tim.
Yes.
Would you tell our listeners, will you finally admit the truth?
The truth? I don't know.
Tell them about the time that we actually went to Scotland to go find Nessie and what happened.
Oh, I don't like to talk about that trip.
Well, they want to know. It's relevant to today's episode. I think it would be kind of cool and important to talk about it.
I really wouldn't rather not. I mean, let's just move on. Let's change the subject.
Listeners, Tim is a little embarrassed, but
please don't.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tim. It was right after they called off COVID. When it was like post-pandemic, and we say post, quote unquote, because it's still out there, COVID. But anyway,
yes, yeah.
Tim and I had agreed to go to Scotland, and because we wanted to find Nessie ourselves, and Tim was very, very hesitant because he said he really didn't want to spend that much money to see something that might not be real. And I told him, Tim, come on, it's going to be fun. Even if we don't see anything, just going to Scotland, wouldn't that be fun? And what did you tell me?
I said I would be cool because of all the, I think I said like they have such good food there.
Yeah, Scotland, famously known for good food. And sorry to our Scottish listeners. I actually don't know if you, I mean, I do know because we went.
Yeah, we did. It was decent. The haggis.
Yeah, no, I mean, sorry to our Scottish listeners, but we ended up at Burger King every day.
We have to confess.
Yes, once we landed in Scotland, I don't want to name the city because I'm pretty sure you can Google this, where, the nearest airport near Loch Ness Monster land. But I don't want to give it away because we have
the Scottish Highlands.
Sorry, but we got there, we landed, and the first thing that Tim did was run with his two big carry-ons because he's too cheap to pay for the undercarriage type stuff, of the luggage. So he had two carry-ons with him. One was a small backpack because he brought his own sea inspecting material, whatever they're called, equipment, excuse me.
Because I have a relative who's an oceanographer, and I know that this stuff works. I'm telling you. Yeah,
and then we checked into the hotel, excuse me, or Airbnb. I forgot what it was. It was an Airbnb, yes. Lady was super sweet, but she was constantly hitting on me, and I did not appreciate that. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. And she was way older, older.
Yeah, she did tell us that the best time to go and investigate Nessie would be at night. So, of course, I mean, I told Tim, what are you waiting for, Tim? Let's just do that. And Tim was like, no, it's going to be too dark and I'm scared. I don't know, he sounds like Regina. And anyway, yeah, so I convinced you finally to go with me.
At some point you did. It took a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, and then we rented a vehicle. Can I speak normal? We rented a car.
Yes, a
Uh,
vehicle, an
yes,
automobile, I think it was.
an automobile, and we drove to the lake, and then we bribed some, fat touristy man, the shipyard captain or whatever the hell they're called, and he rented us a rinky-dinky little boat, and we got on, and we were just there for like 2 hours, and nothing happened. But
Yeah, we went out
then,
in the middle of it.
but then finally, when we, well, tell them.
Well, I remember you really had to use the restroom, and you at some point just kind of sat over the edge of the boat, and I had to balance it out while you took a.
Yeah, I mean, I did read that Nessie likes, corn. And I had, a corn in the cup earlier. So
Right,
I
right.
figured, well, straight from the valve. But yeah, and then,
Yeah, well, and then so, but I mean, I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking, oh, Luis really has to go. I didn't think you had a whole plan to it.
I did.
But yeah, then of course, at some point, we started to feel a little bit of a bump underneath us, and well, I'm embarrassed to say, but I got pretty panicked, I guess. I mean, you
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, you were crying. You're like, Louise,
Okay, I was
let's,
not crying.
let's please go back. And I was like, nope,
No,
I already fed them. They're coming up.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
remember you kept like you went back a few times to take a over the edge of the boat, as I recall.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, the more you feed them, the better. And
Right.
what the fuck are we talking about? And then finally, I felt something, kiss me on the ass. I was like, oh, that feels nice. And then
Oh my God.
I turned and I saw this big dinosaur looking head popping out of the water, but it was smiling at me. And I was like, oh, are you Nessie? And the monster spoke to us. Maybe we're on shrooms or something.
Well, it
Like,
had an accent, didn't it?
yeah, the monster was like, hi, laddie. You've been eating good corn. It keeps my tummy full. And then,
Well, and then we just said, "Oh, you're welcome." I mean, wow, like that's so nice of you. And then he all of a sudden got really angry looking, and then he said something specifically to you that I will never forget. Do you remember what it was?
yeah, he said, who's that gangly bitch over there? What he sounds southern, really bad southern accent, apparently. I was like, oh, this is my friend Tim. And he's like, I hate white people. I was like, wait, but we're in Scotland. This is like white
It's White
country.
People Central, yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, fine. And it just went back into the ocean or
Yeah,
the
he
lake.
was pretty understanding about it after that.
Yeah, he was like, fine. And he just like went back deep down, and then we never saw him again.
Yeah, it was a brief encounter for sure, but I mean, I guess feeding him really did the trick.
Yeah, so some advice for our listeners: if you ever decide to go to Scotland and go look at Nessie, go find Nessie,
Yeah.
bring corn with you, but
Oh,
don't
yeah,
feed
for
it.
sure.
Don't feed it from the can.
No.
Consume it, and then
Do your business.
do your business all over the edge of the boat, and you'll get to meet Nessie.
Yeah, and make sure it's a sturdy boat because if you're like Luis, you might end up, falling into Loch Ness, and that would be kind of an issue.
Yeah, that would not be great. Well, Tim,
Well,
do you feel
yeah.
good that we shared your story?
Yeah, it's off my chest now. I feel like I can breathe a little bit because, yeah.
Yes, listeners, please make sure to not take this at all seriously, because
No, that whole thing was a lie.
no, it was real, but we just don't
Oh.
want you. We don't want you to actually go out there and feed people or animals corn, because we don't know if it's good or bad for their tummies. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, you can feed people corn. That's fine.
yeah, but not monsters of the sea.
No, that's true.
Yeah. But now, Tim, let's take a short break.
Support for this podcast comes from Deep Rest, the only antidepressant designed specifically for survivors of deep sea horror. Because when you've stared into the abyss, you deserve a good night's sleep.
Are you tired of waking up each morning to the smell of brine, the sound of sobbing fishermen, and the ever-present knowledge that he who slurps in the deep is watching you? You're not alone. Here, in Isthmus Bay, or what's left of it, countless villagers are struggling with tidal despair, the number one leading cause of existential dread among coastal communities haunted by ancient cosmic entities. That's why there's Deep Rest, the only antidepressant specifically formulated for minds fraying at the edge of madness due to repeated exposure to eldritch unknown.
Deep Rest works fast to quiet your thoughts, whether they're about lost loved ones, the incomprehensible nature of time, or that one moment last Tuesday when Cthulhu made eye contact with you and whispered your true name in reverse.
Deep Rest. Just because the world is ending doesn't mean you can't enjoy the sunset.
Side effects may include guilt development, uncontrollable chanting, minor tentacle sprouting, and the dreams of the drowned city. Consult your village shaman or local cult leader before use. So, Tim, for this next part, we're going to be discussing 3 real-life stories of people that have encountered sea monsters or sea creatures.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. A little first-hand account.
And just a heads up, we will be posting the links to these stories in the show notes, so feel free to check these out. Some of them are from Wikipedia, so just a heads up. But some of them are some articles, so again, enjoy. (1978), somewhere in the vast quiet blue off the Pacific coast, the USS Stein, a U.S. Navy frigate, was on patrol. Business as usual, that is, until the ship's sonar dome, a critical piece of technology designed to detect submarines, suddenly failed. No warning, no mechanical lead-up, just silence. The failure was enough to force the Stein back to base immediately. Not optional, not negotiable. It had to return to dry dock. The suspicion? A malfunction, maybe corrosion, a tech glitch, something explainable. But when engineers finally got below the hull, what they found wasn't a mechanical failure. It was damage. Massive physical damage.
No. Like what happened to you last Wednesday.
Yep, I told you. Grinder date gone wrong.
I know. It was rough.
A lot of physical damage back there.
Yep, in your hole.
Yes, in my hole.
Hull.
Oh, yes,
Hull.
Yeah, listeners, please forgive us for being perverts.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel bad about that one.
The sonar dome, almost 60,000 pounds of reinforced equipment, was shredded. Not dented, not cracked, torn. Nearly 8% of the dome's outer rubber coating was ripped apart, some gashes over 4 feet long, gouged out like a bear claw through soft flesh. Embedded inside these tears were teeth. Oh, that's wild.
Ooh. Yeah, that is.
I mean, what? Okay, let's
It
continue
loses
reading.
its teeth really quickly, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they could have found that tooth and put it on eBay.
Yeah, that's not really the part I was hitting on, but yes, that's true. You could have found it and put it on eBay.
Engineers described the scene like an alligator feeding frenzy, but it wasn't gators. They weren't even sure it was possible. The Navy was stunned. So they called in biologist Dr. F.G. Wood. What he didn't deny, and he didn't deny the truth, what had attacked the Stein was likely a massive squid.
There's something funny about you saying a massive squid.
Not the kind that... Just kidding. Not the kind that shows up in documentaries. No, Tim. Not that.
Not that one? Okay.
And definitely not the kind that we name after sushi. No. Not again, Tim.
Oh, again, I'm wrong.
Dr. Wood believed this wasn't just a giant squid. It was something more, something colossal. The hooks found in the dome, torn off as it attacked, matched the anatomy of the elusive colossal squid. A beast heavier than its better-known cousin, with barbed hooks on its tentacles. Hooks capable of gripping flesh and tearing it clean. To leave the kind of destruction found on the Stein, this creature would have needed to be over 150 feet long. That's half the height of the Statue of Liberty. And it had teeth. But if it was squid... Yes?
Sorry.
What do you have to add?
I was just gonna... Well, never mind.
Say it.
No.
You want to hear?
Well, I don't know what I was gonna say. So
So
continue.
you just wanted to interrupt me or interrupt my beautiful flow.
No.
I'm just teasing you, Tim.
Okay.
But if it was a squid, why attack the ship, Tim? Some believe it was dying. Colossal squid, when nearing death, are drawn to the surface, desperate, erratic, clinging to anything. Sounds like
Sounds like
Tim's
you.
grinder
Oh, damn it. We tripped on each other's jokes. No.
Others suggest something more territorial, like a final battle between predator and prey. Sperm whales, the squid's only known enemy, have been found covered in scars just like this. Maybe the solar...
Aren't sperm whales your favorite whales?
You already made that joke earlier. How dare you repeat your jokes?
I'm sorry.
And yes, sperm whales are my favorite whales. Are there any other? Blue whales? Yes, there are. Shamu. Maybe the sonar dome resembled the underbelly of a whale. Maybe it struck out thinking it had a chance, but it didn't linger. Whatever it was, it let go, and it vanished. No creature was captured, no body recovered, only the wreckage and the mystery. And so the Navy dubbed it the Stein Monster. But here's the thing, Tim. If it was a colossal squid, it would have been the largest ever seen by humans, and it's still out there. Maybe it realized it wasn't ready to take on a warship. Maybe it returned to the abyss to wait, to grow, to learn. Or maybe, just maybe, this wasn't a squid at all, said Morgan Freeman. Something ancient.
What a good Morgan Freeman impression.
But something ancient. Something that isn't listed in any biology textbook. Not yet. So, Tim, what do you think of the USS Stein and this colossal squid?
I mean, I feel like this is an interesting story if it's true. Is the colossal squid confirmed as like a real creature that exists out there?
Well, yes, it's a big octopusy, isn't it?
I think that's a James Bond movie, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I guess it's a big octopusy, but
Yeah, and then
yeah.
No, they just encountered something. So they were like, yes, it may have been a squid. And this is the reason why we think it is because when they saw the USS Stein, they thought it was like its natural enemy.
Yeah.
And it attacked it. And that's why they were like, yeah, this had just based off of like the evidence of like the bottom of the ship or whatever being shredded into pieces and having like teeth marks or anything like that. Like what else could make that? But do squid have teeth?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. I thought squid had beaks, like at the end of their tentacles, sort of down near their mouth. Well, it is their mouth. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what a colossal squid would even look like. But if this is true, then it's
look
really...
in the mirror. Look in the damn mirror. You'll see one there.
I'll see one right there for you.
Maybe it was Ursula.
Oh. Ursula. Oh, you never know.
She escaped and she was like, you know what? I'm going to go. That, Mr. Triton man, what's his name?
Yeah.
Ariel's father.
Yeah, King Triton.
King Triton, he doesn't pay attention to me. And that little Ariel is just trying to steal my man. I'm just going to go look for one. And then she saw the ship. She's like, oh, let me hump it.
I have to interrupt you.
And she went up and she started humping.
No. King Triton is Ariel's father.
That's what I said.
You said she's trying to steal her man, and it's King Triton. Why would she be stealing her father?
No. I said King Triton doesn't pay attention to her. And then Ariel is
on a separate issue. He's also
Ariel trying to steal her man, Eric, from up and above. And she's like, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. I want to be free and no worries. So she swam up and then she saw the ship and she's like, you know what? That guy looks kind of hot. And of course, no consent or anything. She just attached her tentacles or whatever to the boat and started humping it. And that's why the boat was rocking. And then she was like, I like it rough. And she bit the boat, thinking that it was like another whale or whatever, and left her teeth marks. You don't think that happened?
I think that is exactly what happened, I think.
Our apologies to the Walt Disney Corporation. Please do not sue us.
Yes, please give us sponsors. And yeah.
We already have sponsors. Didn't you just hear the ad for the antidepressant?
Oh yeah, that was good.
And then last week we had the glass dildo one, but listeners, go check that out.
Yeah, just that one ad. Check it out.
The next story is The Devil's Sea, the Dragon's Triangle. Tim, will you do me the honors of reading this?
Oh, I sure will.
Go ahead.
Okay. There are places on this earth that swallow men whole. When
That's
time
me!
No. Where time forgets you and the sea doesn't give you back. One such place lies not in the haunted Atlantic, but far across the Pacific, just off the coast of Japan. The Japanese call it Mano Umi, the Sea of the Devil. We call it the Devil's Sea, or the Dragon's Triangle.
What's so funny? Why are you making fun of Japanese people?
No, I'm saying us. Like, why do we have three names for it?
Well, that's what we call it.
Three different names: the Sea of the Devil, the Devil's Sea, or the Dragon's Triangle,
or the Mano Umi.
Well, no, that's what the Japanese call it. They have just one name, which is probably better.
Oh, okay.
This stretch of ocean is said to consume ships, entire crews, whole squadrons, and no one knows why. It's one of the 12 vile vortices of the Earth, zones of strange electromagnetic pull. But what lives beneath it is the real question. Some say it's the Pacific's answer to the Bermuda Triangle. But here, it's not just ships that vanish. Sometimes they come back, empty, drifting, silent. Wait, I thought that did happen in the Bermuda Triangle. Wasn't there that famous ship that came back empty?
Yes, and this is why it's the Bermuda Triangle's answer, or the Pacific's answer to the Bermuda Triangle. You just read it, sweetie.
No, but it said but here, meaning but here, like as in not like the Bermuda Triangle. It's implying that only ships vanish in the Bermuda Triangle and they don't come back. It's saying but here, they don't just vanish, they also come back. But that also happens in the Bermuda Triangle.
Which is one of the next stories that we're going to talk about.
Okay, I'll keep going. Ghost vessels with no crew, no distress calls, just salt-crusted decks and open doors swinging in the wind. The legends go back centuries. In 1274, Kublai Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, tried to invade Japan with a fleet of 900 ships, but his fleet vanished into these waters. 40,000 men gone, not a single soul returned. In Japan, they say the gods themselves sent storms to stop him, or maybe the dragons below had their fill. By the early 1800s, fishermen told of a strange woman sailing alone through the mist. Her boat was round, like an incense burner, made of a strange metal. She carried a glowing box, clutched tight to her chest. No one knew her name. She vanished into the fog, never seen again. Oh, so she just appeared and then quickly vanished and was never seen?
She just made a little cameo.
Yeah, brief little appearance, clutching a box, very vague.
That's actually kind of scary. Like if you think about it, like if you're just fishing and you see a woman on a little metal round thing just floating by, you're like, what the hell?
Why does she smell so good?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, you, hey, and then she just like floats by and just goes back into the mist. It's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, I guess I'd be more confused if I was telling that story to some sailors. They'd be like, oh, did a sea creature attack your ship? I'd be like, oh, no, it was a lady with a box. And she sort of appeared briefly.
I like how you're doing a pirate accent from somebody from Japan.
Well, I'm not going to do a Japanese accent right now.
Okay. True.
Then came the 1940s. Boats, military vessels, began to vanish between Miyake Island and Iwo Jima. 5 ships in total, gone, without distress signals, no debris. So in 1952, the Japanese government sent a research vessel, Kaio Maru No. 5. 31 crew members, experienced sailors, scientists, investigators, and they never came back. The ship's wreckage was found months later, twisted, burned, half melted, as if it had been dragged down, crushed, and spit back out. The crew never recovered, not even bones. I like how the story is told in like little phrases, like the crew burned, alive, dead, never recovered.
You're a storyteller, Tim.
Okay. After that, Japan marked the region off limits. Too dangerous to cross. Too unpredictable. Too haunted. But this wasn't just superstition. Marine scientists tried to explain it away. Some say it's sub-sea volcanoes, erupting suddenly, collapsing islands, pulling ships down. Others claim methane hydrates trapped under the ocean floor explode, creating massive gas bubbles that kill buoyancy. Don't you always have massive gas bubbles anytime you step in the ocean?
Yeah, no, not just in the ocean. It's like whenever I'm out again. These dates that I'm telling you about, that's why I shouldn't go dating, because
Yeah,
it kills
true.
it kills the buoyancy of my mental health. I don't know what I'm saying.
Your romance life is kids' buoyancy is dead.
Yeah.
Sink a ship without a sound. But others, paranormal researchers, believe something lives there, something ancient. The dragons in the Dragon's Triangle. According to Chinese myth, they dwell beneath the sea, hungry, forever pulling vessels below to feed. They were spoken of as early as 1000 BC, not as metaphors, but as warnings. And still today, ships go missing. Sonar scans come back warped. Electronics fail. Sailors report seeing shadows beneath the waves, shapes bigger than whales circling. Some swear they've heard singing. Others say it's the sea herself luring them home. Next time you're crossing the Pacific, check your coordinates. And if your compass starts to spin, and if your radio goes dead, don't look overboard. You might see something looking back. What the hell
drowning.
was that? Oh, okay.
That was me drowning.
Oh no, a sad sound then.
So, Tim, the Devil's
Yes.
Sea, the Dragon's Triangle. Do you want to go?
Oh, I do want to go. I want to see what their answer is to the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah. Let's
You
see
know?
if it. I think it's probably better.
Oh, yeah, probably. It's probably cleaner and more efficient, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Well,
What are your overall thoughts on today's episode of Sea Monsters, or Monsters of the Sea?
I feel like we actually learned a lot on this one. I feel like there were a lot of different stories, a lot of different cultures, right? We got all different places. And yeah, I mean, it's scary to think that these could be real things, especially the colossal squid. Like,
Yeah.
are you going to go on a cruise now?
I think I will. Yeah, I think
Oh.
I'd still go, and I want to get some binoculars and just
Okay.
go to the top. You know, like where Jack and Rose from Titanic were holding
Oh,
each
yes.
other, and yeah, I'm gonna do that.
And,
Except
and what spot on the boat is that called, Luis?
the tip of the
No.
no, what is it called?
Starts with a B. It's the bow.
Oh, the bow. Damn it!
Don't you
The
know the
listeners-
names of a ship size? Seriously, it's the bow, the stern, the port, and starboard.
Tim. Okay, not all of us grew up on yachts and boats and rich. Okay.
Oh, I grew up on my yacht. Everyone knows that.
Exactly. Not all of us know about the anatomy of a boat. How about that?
Well, you should have studied the anatomy. Well, this is common knowledge, I feel like.
Yeah, also, if I'm doing an episode on this, I should know more. But yes, you're right. You're right. You're right.
That's fine.
But you interrupted my story. I was
Oh,
saying,
Continue.
yes, I went to the bow of the ship. And I'm going to take some binoculars with me. And I'm going to be like at the very tip. And I'm going to be like
Yeah.
looking down and see like, oh, maybe I'll see a sea monster or something. And then I'm going to have the captain come up behind me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna
And
be like-
cover your eyes with his hands.
No. He's going to be like,
He's like, guess who?
no, he's going to be like, you can't be here. I'm like, excuse me, I paid for economy, so I have the rights to this ship like everybody else. He's like, no, actually, you're down below economy. You're in the storage or whatever it's called.
You're in the Irish section where they're
You're in the
playing the
Irish
violin
section.
a lot.
Yeah, go back down there. So that's what would happen to me, unfortunately.
Oh, well, that's a sad story.
I
Oh,
would never get to experience it. And then, of course, because they're being assholes, I'd be like, you know what? I would use it. I'd be like, well, can I at least use the restroom real quick? They're like, go ahead. And then I'll go in
that's
there.
fine.
Yeah. And I'll get a can, like a Coke can, and cut it open, and then I'll put some corn poop in there, and then I'll throw it in their face and run.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard you say on this podcast.
Yeah, no, that's really lowbrow humor here. I apologize.
This is very lowbrow.
I apologize.
Listeners, we hope you learned a little something today, and we apologize for that last bit.
No.
Or do we?
Tim, before we end the episode, I have one question for you. Actually, more like 3 questions.
Oh, okay. Well, let's hear all of them.
Yes. If you had to make up a sea monster, first question is, what would the features be for the sea monster? What is its lore? And what would you name it?
Okay, I think I would create a sea creature that's just a giant ball of tentacles. Like just a ball of them where you can't see where the tentacles end. Where's the root? And maybe it would just have a single eyeball that occasionally blinks and comes out of the tentacles. And the eyeball would have very long eyelashes, like as if it was wearing mascara.
Okay.
So it would be a little weird. It would be a little kooky. It would scare people, but then it would also maybe make them like not know what they were looking at, you know?
Yeah.
A little surreal.
What is its lore?
Its lore is that it's a squid mated with a sea urchin, and this is its, you know,
Offspring.
its baby, its offspring. You know, it's what it ends up looking like if you try to do something like that. So that's the lore. And it's kind of a message as well to you know, sailors to watch out for breeding sea creatures. And its name is will you come up with the name?
No, because I have my own.
Oh, okay, I see. We're both gonna answer. Okay, mine. Okay, the creature's name will be the great leg ball.
The great what?
The great leg ball.
Leg ball. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I feel like nobody would be scared from that, but okay.
Well, they might be weirded out.
Yeah. Okay. If I had to pick or create its features, I would say it would look like a tin can almost. You could say even a coffin, but bigger, like the size of the Statue of Liberty that comes out at night, and it's just floating in the water, and people see it like, oh, is that land? But it's not, and they think it is, so they dock near it and they get off, and then as they're walking on this land, they see like, oh, why is this land so slimy? And then in the middle of the quote unquote land, an eyeball just opens up, and then the lore, well, that's the feature. It's like one big massive piece of like slimy glub with one eye in the middle.
Slimy glub.
Yeah, and it has like a little hole for the mouth where it's like, hey y'all, that hurts a little bit. What are you doing on me? And the lore, it has
a southern accent a little bit.
No, a little gay accent. So it turns out that a man made a wish. No, a man was fishing. This is the lore, by the way. A man was fishing in the middle of the ocean, and he threw his like hook, his line, and then he caught something really big. He's like, what the hell is this? This is like really big, bigger than a freaking, you know, average size fish. And then when he reeled it in, it turns out it was Ursula. And
oh my god,
Ursula from The Little Mermaid. And she was like, bitch, I was fucking this boat. You interrupted me. He's like, I'm sorry. It's like, well, I'm gonna turn you into a piece of land. He's like, no, please, I have a wife. And she makes an eye like, wife? It's like, okay, a husband. And she's like, you know what? And she goes,
she doesn't believe him for a second about the wife.
Exactly. She just goes or whatever and turns the man into a piece of land with one eye and a mouth. That's lore.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, that's some good lore. And what's the guy's name once he's a giant piece of land?
Oh, he's called Land, and Tim is the mayor.
What? Hey! That's the name of that tune.
Before we let everybody go, I want to ask you, I know that this episode was a little bit, you know, problematic in so many different ways, but if you did enjoy this episode and you're like, you know what, I'm going to give these guys a break, feel free to leave us a 5-star review on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you hated this episode, you're like, this is like their worst episode ever since the Doppelganger one,
leave a like.
Just leave a like. And that's how you can support us, but don't rate us.
Yeah, no, please.
As for next week's episode, Tim, What are we talking about next week?
Well, we're going to be discussing some famous cases of axe murderers like Lizzie Borden, the Smiley axe murders, and, other cases.
Ooh, Tim,
Ooh.
I have a real good story for this one, and you're gonna be part of it.
Oh, I'll be part of it. Like, I'll hear you tell the
Like
story.
you'll be part of the story. No, you'll be part of the story.
You
You survived an accident.
An accident, you might call it.
Accident, exactly. And we're gonna have our my good friend Natalie on the episode.
Oh, should be fun.
Listeners, thanks once again, and remember, even the smallest chills can linger long after the story's end. I might cut this episode.
The whole thing.